Hello everyone, in this video we're going to set up MongoDB, and this is going to work the same for Linux, Mac, and Windows on the browser version at least, or in the browser. So let's go ahead and set that up. So basically we just go to mongodb.com and then hit sign in. I think you might have to try free. I don't sign up for an account very often, so. Okay, don't have an account, sign up. Okay, lots of stuff, so. Okay, you need a company, interesting, sign up. Okay, so then we can go verify our email. Okay, so we'll click on it and we'll hit verify email. Email successfully verified. Okay, so use your account to deploy a cloud base. Don't think I want that. Okay, what is your goal today? You will answer us. Okay. I'm just going to hit explore what I can build or learn Mongo. Sounds good. What type of application? Just say other. Tell us what you're building. Web stuff. What is your preferred language? For me, it's been JavaScript lately. So I'll hit finish. I don't think any of this actually matters. Okay, deploy a cloud database. And I think this is just kind of setting us up automatically. So you can hit, I'll do this later. Yep. Okay, so we're in here and basically we have projects. And then within projects, I think we have separate databases and stuff. So there's like levels of nesting. Think of them as like folders. So I'm going to say, we're just going to start in project 0. That's our current one. And so we can say build a database. And I think you only get one free one per like project, I think it is. So I'm not exactly sure, but we'll just hit free. And then shared will allow us to do the free one, and we will use AWS servers, I guess. I'm closest to Oregon, so I'll use that one. And cluster tier is M0. So M0 is the free one. So no backup, because if you use backups, then you'll have to pay. So, and you can always upgrade this stuff later, so you don't have to like migrate everything. And then cluster 0 kind of just helps me identify that it's free. You can rename it if you want. So I'm going to hit create cluster. And then how would you like to authenticate your connection? A username and password is fine. So create a database. User using a username and password. Users will be given read and write to any database. Basically, for the database, each database has its own username and password. And I think you can set up multiple usernames and passwords, but I'm just going to say John, and then the password will be some insecure password. Okay, so I used an exclamation point, so it hasn't been a problem with me so far, but we'll hit create user. Okay, and so we have John and then authentication type password. Remember this password, write it down, store it somewhere. And then I just want to connect from my local environment. And so you used to be able to connect anywhere. So I don't actually know if that's still the case. I haven't looked into it too much, but you want to add your current IP address, which gives so that you can only connect to this database from specific IP addresses. And so you want to add your IP address. That doesn't mean that your clients can't, users of your app can't connect to it, but I think it's just like a direct connection to Mongo. You need to have a specific IP address. So you would add, like if you have a partner that needs to connect, to the development of the application in like Texas or something, then they would add their IP address as well. But that's pretty much how that works. And then you've got a list of IP addresses that are allowed to access and connect. So that's something to keep in mind. We'll hit finish and close. Congratulations on setting up access rules. You'll now be able to connect to your deployments. You can continue to add and update access rules. Okay, cool. So go to databases. Okay, and so it's still deploying, so we'll give it a minute. Okay, so it looks like it's finished, and we have a cluster 0. And so we can now browse our collections, and we're not going to have any at this point. So I'm just going to hit browse collections, and it's going to say, okay, here's your databases and stuff. I don't like adding the sample data set just because there's a ton of data and it kind of takes forever. So I'm going to hit add my own data, and then we can say whatever database name you want. So I'm just going to say my app. And then a collection goes inside of the databases. So I'm going to say, well, collection 1. So we'll hit create. Okay, and so inside of the project 0, we have these databases. And one of them is my app, and then we have a collection inside of the database. So we have collections, and then let's add a row, or let's add document, I'm sorry. So test, and then value 1. That drives me nuts. Okay, value 1, insert. Okay, so this is the actual data. This data lives in this collection 1, which lives in the My App database, and the database lives in, well, a list of databases. You can have a list. You can have multiple databases inside of the project 0. And so then here in project 0 is kind of like the top level. And actually the databases themselves live in the cluster. So you can see here it says cluster 0. So, oh wait, does it go one deeper? Oh yes, and it goes even further because then you have organizations. So you can set up multiple organizations. So let's see here. I want to see if I can create another. So if I go to view all projects, okay, and we'll click project 0. And so now we're at the outermost layer. We're looking at all of the clusters inside of this project. And so we can connect to this cluster 0 here, but if we try to create a new one, I'm pretty sure it doesn't let you create another free one. So if I hit shared, organ, yeah, cluster tier M2, it's not going to let me. So yeah, there is a limit of 1 M0 or free cluster per project. So if you wanted another free one, you would have to create a new project. So we could go back to cloud. And then create, well, we'd have to click view all projects. And then new project. So I'm going to say name project 1. Next. And then here's the email. You can add members. I'm going to hit create project. Okay, and then now we're back to building a database, and we can create another free one as long as it's in, again, a separate project. So organ and all of that. M0, cluster 0, create cluster. And so then we're basically back at the same situation where we were. So that's how you can create multiple free databases. And if you want to go, let's go back to project 0. And then we'll say browse collections. And then we can create another database. So I'm going to say we have one called my app. And so I'm going to say my other app, and I'll say some collection create. Okay, and so now we have another collection, another database. And so I think this actually uses the same, database username and password. So I think that is set on a project level, I think. Or I think it's actually probably a cluster level, but just keep that in mind to keep track of your usernames and passwords for your databases. And I use a password manager called 1Pass, but there are 1Password, I guess it's called, but there's a bunch of password managers that you can check out and try. They're super cheap. I think 1Pass is like $36 a year or something like that. So anyway, if we want to get back, we can hit Browse Collections. And then basically we can see all of our data in here. And this is pretty much where we're going to start working in the Mongo shell, and we're going to start adding and deleting and updating data. So I'll see you in the next video.